Elon Moy has the details for us. Elon.
I can just go by my first name, Will, if it's okay. Now, we have seen several of those executives arrive here at the White House to talk about Huawei. Micron, Cisco, Qualcomm, they're all here. We're also told that Intel and Broadcom were invited as well. And the White House is still holding out the possibility here that President Trump could drop by this meeting. He said earlier today that he wants the U.S. to be the global leader in 5G and that no one can compete with Silicon Valley. We also know that he does like these sort of impromptu roundtables, guys. So we know that the meeting started about half an hour ago, and as far as we can tell, it's still going on. So we'll bring you the latest when we have it. Back over to you.
Elon, thank you. Sector, Mike, really took off like a rocket today.
It did, and it really does. It's not clear to me that it's keying off the Huawei stuff. It's almost as if the market's decided we can't really handicap this process. Right, so we're trying to kind of call the turn in the underlying cycle as opposed to how this is going to turn out.
Scott, do you like this sector?
We do. Well, we like technology. Typically, semiconductors for old timers like myself, that wasn't always an early cycle performer, but now these cycles come and go in semiconductors pretty quickly. So, is it the best technology sector? Our sub-industry group, probably not. But overall, we still definitely like technology here. And this Huawei, I'm no expert on Huawei, but you can rest assured that this is, the president could give some ground there. Chinese President Xi could as well. And so I think we're going to continue to hear about this in terms of these very, very important trade negotiations that hopefully are going to start up here and get a little more serious.
I mean, you mentioned early cycle indicators, and people, in the last, few months, we're looking at semis as a tell of things deteriorating in terms of the outlook. We've looked at transports that way. And I mentioned small caps today, which did underperform and continue to do so. How do you read these sort of mixed signals?
Well, I tell you, here's the way that we look at small caps. When you're late in the cycle and things start to slow down, money flows to the biggest of the big cap stocks, the OEX, the S&P 100, because, they have better balance sheets, easier access to credit. They can buy back shares. They have lots of products, and that's totally different, and they have good margins. And that's totally different than, let's say, the Russell 2000. A lot of those companies don't make money. They have really lousy margins compared to the S&P 500. They tend to have a lot fewer products. They don't have the ability to buy back shares nearly as easily, and they don't have as good a balance sheet. So for us, when things slow down, that money tends to flow to those bigger names. Now, small caps could outperform. If you think there's going to be a complete trade meltdown, I think they would probably do better then, or if U.S. economic growth actually did accelerate, or at least the difference between international growth and U.S. growth really, that spread widened, then I think there's some hope for small caps. But that's unlikely to happen in our book, and probably they'll underperform over the course of the rest of this cycle.
Kevin, I just wanted to come back to the yield curve very quickly. If we did see the Fed cut by 50 basis points, would that successfully steepen the yield curve, or do you think the long end would come down with the short end?
Well, I think you'll have a steepening, but probably not as much as if it would be just straight 25. I think that we're going to see, obviously, a gap lower in the short end of the curve, probably unwind even further the 6-month to 10-year relationship. But I think there's two different stories, and the story for the long end of the market continues to be this hedge or bet that inflation will not come back in the next year or so. The Fed funds reduction of 50 would be more immediate and have a dramatic effect.
Shock and awe, guys. Scott and Kevin.
Shock and awe. So you're in 50.
50's shock and awe.
Thank you, guys.
All right, take care.